Hey, what's up YouTube? This is your girl Abby, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you some helpful tips for flying with a toddler. Now if you watched my last video, which I'll link here, I showed you some of the things I packed for our 5-hour flight to Hawaii, and it was also my 2-year-old son, my 2-year-old toddler's first flight ever and first vacation. I did pack a lot of stuff, but what I want to do is share in this video the things that actually came in handy, the lifesavers, and just some of my experience for flying with him on that flight and also coming back. And then I'll share with you some of the things that I really could have done without. As you know, there are a lot of videos here on YouTube that share everything that you can pack on your carry-on for a toddler and everything that you can pack for the flight, but it can get a little overwhelming, which is what happened with me, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that I really could have just left at home. But I will go ahead and preface this video by saying every toddler is different, every child is different, so the experience I had with my toddler, may not be the same that you have with yours, but since toddlers tend to have similar behaviors, I'm hoping this video can help you out. So starting, let me first just go ahead and share some of the lifesavers and things that I really feel helped me on this flight. So the first thing is the stroller. And I debated whether I was going to take the stroller or not because it's just this big extra thing to carry around. But in my mind I knew, okay, I needed to have the stroller because my son is 2 and he's getting a little bit heavier, and I was going to also have a carry-on plus his carry-on. I knew it would be hard to carry him if he didn't want to walk. And also our flight was like at 8 o'clock in the morning and we had to leave our house like at 4:30 in the morning, so I had this idea that he may be sleepy once we got to the airport, which he was. So that is my number one lifesaver, the stroller. And one thing I got for my stroller, I ordered a stroller bag from Amazon, and that came in really handy because it did protect the stroller from being damaged, and strollers, child equipment can be expensive. I did not want it to break, and the bag actually folded up into itself. It turned into a bag for the stroller bag, and that made it really easy to carry along and then open up when it was time to pack it up for the gate. Now one thing I will share as a tip, 2 of my cousins that went, they have 2 younger children. They each have 2 children. What they carried with them instead of a stroller was a wagon, and they said it is much easier to have a wagon at the airport than to have, even at your destination, than to have a double stroller, which can be either wide or too long to push around. And luckily one of them stayed in the same hotel that we stayed in, and her stroller was able to fit one more child. I'm sorry, not stroller, her wagon was able to fit one more child, which meant that Kai was able to ride along with them in the wagon once we're in Hawaii. Like honestly, if I were to take Kai somewhere again, travel again, I probably will use a wagon instead of the stroller. And this wagon did fit 3 children. The other one, her wagon, when I saw it, only fit 2. I think if you are traveling with more than one child, maybe a wagon would be something to invest in, because even if it's one child, you can actually put all your other items in there, and if it's 2 children, it might be easier than trying to fold a double stroller. Now one other thing I will say about the wagon over the stroller, I wanted to fold my stroller before showing my ticket and going down the little corridor to get to the entrance of the airplane, and once I did that, it made it a little bit harder because I had this big stroller backpack thing to carry, plus my carry-on, plus I have to pay attention to my child even though I did have help, plus his carry-on. The wagon, you can literally push it to the gate and it's just a pull-up. You just pull up and it just folds. So that's why I'm thinking in the future I will probably use a wagon instead of a stroller. In fact, when we were on the actual trip, once we got to Hawaii, we did not use Kai's stroller at all. It stayed in the bag, the stroller bag that I purchased the entire trip until it was time to go back to the airport. And also we went to Hawaii, and because I am who I am, I'm wearing a shirt that I got from Hawaii. So the next item that was very helpful to me was his toddler size suitcase. And the reason why is because it gave him something to do, and toddlers love to have a job or something that they can do to help you with. So him having his own suitcase that he was able to roll around just like everybody else was doing in the airport just made him so happy, and he was so excited to roll it down that I keep forgetting what that thing is called, the little connector that takes you to the plane. And well, it's not little, it's big, but the connector that takes you to the plane. And he was so excited to just get on there and get on the plane, which was one of my biggest fears. I feared that we would get there and I'm like, all right, let's board the plane. And he's like, no, I'm not getting on. We had no problem with the suitcase. He was very aware of it the entire trip. He was concerned about where his suitcase was. So that was the number two thing that was very helpful to me. So besides the suitcase, his little carry-on keeping him busy, another thing that was helpful for me was having the coloring books. I had a few that I packed in my last video, as I mentioned, but the coloring book, the one that had the stickers and had the crayon, and I got from the Target dollar spot for either $1 or $3, was very helpful. In fact, that was the only thing he used for entertainment on the flight going to Hawaii. That surprisingly was all the entertainment he used. Now coming back, he did use a different coloring book that I had. Actually just had like coloring sheets in there, and it had the one marker that just, it was like a magic marker. He used that at the airport coming back because we needed that to keep him busy while we were trying to get some things to, something to eat and use the bathroom. So that really came in handy. Now he used his tablet maybe for like a half hour on the flight coming back, but most of the time he didn't use it. But if you do have a tablet, that's something that you could pack for entertainment for your child. You know your child best, and you know what they, may be interested in. Definitely pack something to keep them busy on the airplane or at the airport while you either rest or need to take care of some things like we did. Another thing that came in handy was the disinfectant wipes and the wet ones that we had. On our flight, they did give us disinfectant wipes when we got there, so maybe I didn't necessarily need it, but it came in handy at the hotel as well. So that's something that I think is worth packing. And also at both airports that we were at, they did have hand sanitizer available almost everywhere. So I packed some hand sanitizer, but it is at the airport as well currently. So I don't know how long that will, last. So the next thing that came in handy for us, traveling with a toddler that is potty training, we did take a little potty, but we didn't really use that for the flight or at the airport. So having the pull-ups was really helpful. While we were on the plane, he did get a little scared of the toilet, the flushing sound it makes on the plane, so he didn't want to use that. And while he slept on the plane, he slept for like 3 hours going there and then 2 hours coming back, he did go in his pull-up. So it was a good thing that we had that and we didn't try and risk with him wearing his underwear. That was helpful to have. So to piggyback off of that, another thing that was helpful to have was an extra change of clothes, because as he slept for the first 3 hours, he went pee in his pull-up. Pull-ups don't hold as much as like regular diapers, so it did seep through and it got on his pants. So it was really good that I had the extra change of clothes right there in my backpack. We were able to change him right there on the seat. Everything was good to go. And then one other thing that I actually didn't really use, but I think it will be good to have, are snacks. And I packed a lot of snacks, as you may already know, because I thought, he was gonna get hungry and I was gonna need something to keep him busy, and snacks, are helpful for that. But the flight that we took was with Hawaiian Airlines, and they are one of the few airlines that actually still serve meals plus snacks that's complimentary. They did have like a breakfast bake kind of thing that they had that he liked and he ate. They gave us the Honolulu Cookie Company cookies. Yeah, pretty much he ate that and was fine with it. I'd actually packed breakfast for him. So at the airport, he had his breakfast while we were waiting to board the flight, because I knew that was going to be around the time he was eating. So he did enjoy his breakfast. I just made him some eggs and I put in a little to-go kids, toddlers plate that had a cover, and maybe I'll find it. I'm sure I got it from Amazon, or maybe I got it from Target. I'm not sure, but I will try and link it all. So although I did not use all the snacks, or pretty much none of the snacks that I packed, it may be useful for you to pack some snacks in case your child gets hungry and does not want what the airline is offering. So one other thing that we packed that we, actually had to use was we packed some lollipops. And the only time we ended up having to use the lollipop, which is candy. I'm not recommending that you give candy to your toddler, but we knew that's something that could keep him busy, just a small lollipop. And it was once we went to baggage claim to get our luggages, and he saw everybody was picking up luggages from the belt. He went and tried to get one of someone's suitcase. It wasn't even our suitcase. He just wanted to try and get a suitcase from the belt, and when I told him he couldn't, that was like the first time he started crying for that flight to Hawaii. So I had him go to my mom, sit in his stroller, and he had a lollipop, and I kept him busy until we're able to get our luggages and get on our shuttle to get to our hotel. So pretty much what I'm saying, whatever you can bring that can distract your toddler in times like the one we had, pack that along with you because it may come in handy. Okay, so some of the things that I packed that I really could have done without, pretty much all of the extra toys that I packed so many different toys. I thought he was gonna get bored with one, so I was honestly really surprised that that one coloring book that was only $3 or so with the stickers and the different crayons, that kept him busy for the first flight. If you are packing, you know, don't underestimate your toddler or your child to think that they're gonna be this, you know, crazy person on the plane, because that's what I was worried about. But he actually did very well with just that, took his nap and ate, and before you know it, the flight was over. So all the, if you watched my video, you saw I packed so many toys, so many activities and like coloring books and Play-Doh and a lot of different things that we actually never even opened. Also, the amount of snacks that I packed so many, and honestly, if I would have just checked with my airline that I was using before, I would have known I didn't need to pack all of that. And another thing that I saw that they had for sale, they had actually kids snack packs, so the airline is already thinking of the kids as well. So if you don't mind spending $5 or $7 on the flight, you can get a snack pack that either has, you know, I don't even really remember what was on the pack, but I think it's things that most kids would like or appreciate. So check with your airline. You could probably check online and you can see everything that they carry, so that way your load of everything that you're carrying would be lighter for you. Another thing that I packed that I really could have done without was like this lap tray for children. It actually was really nice. Like, he did use it going to Hawaii. He didn't use it coming back because the actual seat tray worked just fine. He used that on the flight coming back, and it did pull. It pulled all the way close to him, and he was able to use that for coloring on the way back. So I didn't actually have to take that tray out, which it was actually pretty large, so I couldn't fit that in my backpack that I put under the seat. It actually was up above in the storage for your carry-on. Having to get that down the first time, I had to go and open my carry-on and get it out. The second time, because he used the tray, I only had to use the disinfectant wipes to wipe the tray down, which made it so much easier. So that's something I could have really done without. Another thing I could have done without, I packed these. Actually, I only took one of them. It was a footrest that blows up and turns the seat into a bed for your toddler. And Kai did sleep on both flights, but he did not need that. So I had that plus a pump that I actually didn't need because he just laid across on the seat. And for the first flight, his head was just on my leg and his legs were across on my mom. So we did not use that at all. It was something I definitely could have left at home. One thing that I did not need that I packed was the headphones for him. He actually didn't want to use them. When we tried to have him use it, he refused. He did not want to use the headphones, so he never used the headphones for the flight coming back, because that's when he used the actual tablet. He didn't use the headphones at all. So that was one other thing I packed. Pretty much 90% of the things that I packed he did not need. So the things that I listed there, I think, were the lifesavers. If you're gonna take a stroller or a wagon, pull-ups if you have a child, whether they're potty trained or not, you never know, for emergencies. And then something to keep him busy, and you don't need to pack as much as I packed, just a few things. In fact, the coloring book he used the first time, he could have used the second time. It was just easier at the moment for me to pull out the other one. And something to keep them fed. Distractions, whatever you can pack to keep him distracted or her in times of need, pack that along with you just in case. Pretty much, I don't think I missed anything. I think that is it. But one thing I will say is, for you, the mom, you know, have whatever it is you're gonna have, whether it's your diaper bag or a backpack or just a purse. Those things like the diapers, the pull-ups that I took for my toddler, the change of clothes, the snacks if you're carrying it, and your coloring book and crayons, put them somewhere where it's easy to reach so you don't have to stand in the aisle in case the seatbelt sign is still on. For me, it was so easy to have that backpack and I was able to pull out everything I needed. But I really hope that you enjoyed that video. If you want to see our Hawaii vlog and just see how our trip went, make sure you subscribe and stick around, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Airplane. It says the airplane.
You saw the airplane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Airplane.
Okay. Alright, we're done.
There's an airplane.
Yeah, there's airplanes outside.
Yeah.